At exactly 2:47 p.m. on July 4th, 2024, Marcus Rodriguez walked into Walmart store number 4387, wearing a perfect Loomis armored transport uniform. Store manager Rico Robertson signed the paperwork without question. 15 minutes later, Marcus walked out with $2.7 million in holiday weekend cash deposits. The security cameras captured everything, but by the time the real Loomis driver arrived, Marcus had vanished into thin air, leaving behind only a fake badge and the most audacious retail heist in American history. But this wasn't a random crime. This was the culmination of an 18-month plan by a man whose own employer had been stealing from him for years and who decided to turn the tables in the most spectacular way possible. Before we dive into how Marcus pulled off this incredible heist, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit that subscribe button if you're new here, smash the like button if you're enjoying the story, and drop a comment letting me know what city you're watching from. It's absolutely incredible to see viewers from all around the world following these true crime stories. Seriously, the global reach of this community never stops amazing me. Now let's get back to Marcus and discover how a desperate father turned into America's most wanted retail thief. Monday morning, July 8th, 2024. Marcus Rodriguez stood in the cash office of Walmart store number 4387, watching numbers that would make most people dizzy. $2.3 million in weekend deposits sat in the safe behind him. For 12 years, he'd processed these transactions without thinking twice. Today was different. His phone buzzed. Dr. Patricia Chen, Tyler's orthopedic surgeon. Mr. Rodriguez, I need to be direct with you. Tyler's spinal fusion needs to happen before August 15th, or his condition becomes inoperable. The vertebrae are compressing faster than we anticipated. We need payment confirmation by next Friday. Marcus gripped the phone tighter. Doctor, the insurance company denied coverage again. They're calling it experimental. I understand, but without this surgery, Tyler faces permanent paralysis. The procedure costs $380,000 total. I'm sorry, but we can't proceed without guaranteed payment. The line went dead. Marcus stared at the safe containing more money than he'd make in 10 years. His phone buzzed again. A text from Tyler. Dad, it's getting worse. I can barely walk to class. The other kids are starting to notice. Marcus closed his eyes. 14 years old, and his son was facing life in a wheelchair because of insurance bureaucrats and their medical necessity requirements. He turned back to his computer and froze. An email marked confidential sat in his inbox from corporate headquarters. The subject line made his stomach drop. Labor cost optimization. Store, Magra 4387. Marcus opened the file. His hands started shaking as he read. Effective August 1st, the following positions will be eliminated as redundant. Senior Cash Office Associate, Department Supervisors, 3, Customer Service Manager. Affected employees will receive no severance package due to restructuring exemption clause 47B. Health insurance coverage terminates with employment. His job, gone, and with it, Tyler's health insurance. Marcus scrolled down and found the financial breakdown. Store profits were up 23% this quarter. Executive bonuses had increased by $2.4 million. Meanwhile, they were cutting the people who actually made the store run. Marcus, you okay? He spun around. Rico Robertson, the store manager, stood in the doorway looking concerned. Yeah, just processing the weekend deposits. Rico stepped closer and lowered his voice. Listen, corporate's been asking questions about your cash handling procedures. They think you're too thorough, makes them nervous. Maybe start making a few small mistakes, you know? Look more normal. Marcus stared at him. They want me to make mistakes with millions of dollars? Not mistakes, just less detailed reports. You document everything. Makes other stores look bad. Rico shrugged. Just some friendly advice. After Rico left, Marcus sat back down and started thinking. If corporate wanted less detailed reports, what were they hiding? He opened the employee portal and started digging into overtime records. What he found made him sick. The automatic clock-out system had been cheating employees out of overtime for years. Technical glitches that always happened right at the 40-hour mark. Managers got bonuses for keeping labor costs under target, even if it meant stealing from their own employees. Marcus calculated the numbers. Store number 4387 alone had stolen $847,000 in unpaid overtime over 5 years. His own lost wages totaled $23,000 annually. The store's daily profit was $156,000. Tyler's surgery cost less than 2 days of revenue. Marcus looked up as the familiar sound of the Loomis armored truck reached his ears. 3 p.m., right on schedule. Jake Morrison would walk through that door in 30 seconds. Same routine he'd performed 600 times. Jake appeared at the cash office door, clipboard in hand. "Hey Marcus, how's the holiday weekend treating you?" "Can't complain. $2.3 million in deposits keeping me busy." Jake laughed. "Better you than me, brother. Rico around?" "Manager's office." Marcus watched Jake walk away and realized something. In 12 years, Rico had never once asked Jake for ID, never verified his credentials, just signed the paperwork and trusted the uniform. That evening, Marcus sat in his apartment staring at Tyler's medical bills spread across his coffee table. $380,000 for surgery. $85,000 insurance would cover if they approved it, which they wouldn't. $295,000 he needed to find in 5 weeks. His phone rang. Sarah, his ex-wife. "Marcus, Tyler collapsed at school today. His back is getting worse." "What did the doctor say?" "Same thing. Surgery or wheelchair. I'm done waiting for you to figure this out. If you can't handle this, I'm taking the kids to Houston, where I have family support." "Sarah, please." "I'm working on it." "Working on what? You make $34,000 a year. The surgery costs 10 times that. Be realistic." She hung up. Marcus walked to Tyler's room where his son was lying face down, ice pack on his lower back. "Dad?" "Yeah, buddy?" "Am I going to end up like Jessica from my support group? She's in a wheelchair now." Marcus knelt beside the bed. "No, I promise you that's not going to happen." "How do you know?" "Because I'm your dad and I won't let it." The next morning, Marcus arrived at work with a new perspective. He watched the Loomis truck pull up at exactly 3:00 p.m. Jake Morrison got out wearing the same uniform he always wore. Dark blue shirt, matching pants, official Loomis badge, clipboard with carbon copy paperwork. Marcus memorized every detail. Badge number 47A2. Shirt had 2 chest pockets and a pen holder. Pants had a stripe down the side. Black tactical boots. The clipboard was standard office supply. Nothing special about it. When Jake finished his pickup, Marcus followed him to the parking lot. "Hey Jake, can I ask you something?" "Sure, what's up?" "You ever worry about someone impersonating you guys? I mean, anyone could get a uniform and walk into a store." Jake laughed. "You'd be surprised how often people ask that. Truth is, most stores never check ID. They see the uniform and assume we're legit. Pretty trusting, actually." "What about the paperwork?" "Standard carbon forms, nothing fancy. Manager signs, we load up, everyone's happy." Jake climbed into his truck. "Why? You thinking about switching careers?" Marcus forced a smile. "Just curious." That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Jake's words. They see the uniform and assume we're legit. He got up and started researching Loomis online. The company website had detailed photos of their uniforms and equipment. Employee LinkedIn profiles showed dozens of drivers in identical gear. The procedural manual was available as a PDF download for vendor verification purposes. Marcus spent 3 hours studying every detail: radio protocols, pickup procedures, paperwork sequences, vehicle specifications. It was all there, freely available to anyone who looked. By Thursday morning, Marcus had a plan forming in his mind. Not a good plan, not a legal plan, but a plan that could save Tyler's life. He called in sick Friday morning and drove to Army surplus store outside town. The clerk, a veteran like Marcus, was happy to help. "Looking for anything specific?" "Dark blue uniform shirt and pants. Security company style." "We got some tactical stuff that might work." "What's it for?" "Halloween costume. Going as an armored truck driver." The clerk found a perfect match. Dark blue shirt with chest pockets, matching pants with cargo pockets, even had a stripe down the side. With some modification, it would pass for Loomis gear from 10 feet away. "Need anything else?" Marcus bought black tactical boots, a basic clipboard, and a laminating kit. Total cost, $127. Back home, he used Jake's badge photos from the company website to create a replica. The laminating kit made it look official enough to pass casual inspection. He practiced Jake's signature using copies of old paperwork he'd kept for records. By Saturday night, Marcus had everything except the courage to use it. His phone rang Sunday morning. Dr. Chen again. Mr. Rodriguez, I have to ask directly. Can you pay for Tyler's surgery? Marcus looked at the uniform hanging in his closet. I'm working on it. I need a yes or no answer by Friday. If you can't guarantee payment, I have to give the surgical slot to another patient. There's a waiting list. Give me until Friday. Tyler's running out of time. The longer we wait, the more complex the surgery becomes. Marcus hung up and made his decision. Monday morning, he called his military buddy Rodriguez, who worked construction. Hey man, weird question. You know anyone who rents storage units for cash? No paperwork? Yeah, my cousin Miguel runs some units on the east side. Why? Need somewhere to store some stuff. Going through a divorce situation. I'll text you his number. He's cool. No questions asked. By Tuesday, Marcus had rented a storage unit under the name Mike Ramirez and paid 3 months in advance with cash. He moved the uniform and equipment there, along with a cheap radio scanner to monitor police frequencies. Wednesday evening, Rico Robertson approached him during closing. Marcus, I need to tell you something. Corporate's termination list came down today. Your position's being eliminated July 15th. Marcus felt his stomach drop, even though he'd already seen the memo. What about severance? Sorry, man. Budget cuts. They're saying it's a restructuring, so no severance package. And health insurance. Ends with your employment. That was it. Even if Marcus did nothing, Tyler would lose his insurance coverage in 6 days. The surgery would become impossible either way. Rico, can I ask you something off the record? Rico looked around and nodded. You ever notice how much money flows through this place? Millions every week, and they're cutting jobs to save a few thousand in salaries? Tell me about it. My bonus last year was based on keeping labor costs under budget. Made an extra 15 grand by cutting hours. Marcus stared at him. You got a bonus for cutting employee hours? Company policy. Managers get performance bonuses for operational efficiency. Less labor cost means higher efficiency ratings. What about the overtime glitches in the system? Rico shifted uncomfortably. What glitches? The ones that automatically clock people out at 39.5 hours every week. That's not a glitch, Marcus. That's the system working as designed. Marcus felt his last thread of loyalty to Walmart snap. Thursday morning, he drove to the storage unit and laid out everything. The uniform fit perfectly. The badge looked authentic. He'd memorized Jake's mannerisms and speaking patterns from months of observation. His phone buzzed. Tyler texting from school. Dad, the doctor wants to see us this afternoon. Mom says it's important. Marcus met them at the medical center. Doctor, Chen's expression was grim. Tyler's latest MRI shows rapid deterioration. The compression is affecting nerve function in his legs. We need to operate this weekend, or the damage becomes irreversible. Sarah grabbed Marcus's arm. This weekend? But we don't have the money. I can't wait any longer. Tyler needs emergency surgery Saturday morning. If you can't guarantee payment by Friday afternoon, I'll have to admit him for palliative care instead. Tyler looked up from the examination table. What's palliative care? Dr. Chen looked at Marcus. It means managing pain while we wait to see how much function you retain. You mean if I'll be able to walk? We're going to do everything we can, Tyler. In the parking lot, Sarah turned to Marcus. I can't watch him go through this. If you can't pay for the surgery, I'm taking him to Houston tomorrow. My sister knows doctors there. Sarah, please, give me until Friday. What's going to change between now and Friday? You going to rob a bank? Marcus looked at his son, who was struggling to walk to the car. I'll figure it out. That night, Marcus finalized his plan. Friday would be the biggest deposit day of the week due to the extended July 4th weekend. The store would have at least $2.5 million in cash. Jake Morrison had called in sick twice this month, so a replacement driver wouldn't raise suspicions. Most importantly, Rico Robertson had scheduled a vacation day Friday. The backup manager, Linda Chen, only worked the morning shift and rarely checked IDs for routine pickups. Marcus set his alarm for 6 a.m. Friday morning. Friday, July 12th, 2024. The heist Marcus woke up before his alarm. He'd barely slept, running through the plan over and over. Every detail had to be perfect. 6 a.m. Final equipment check, uniform pressed and ready, badge clipped to shirt pocket, clipboard with forged paperwork, radio scanner programmed to police frequencies. 6:30 a.m. Drove to storage unit and changed into the Loomis uniform. It fit like it was made for him. In the mirror, he looked exactly like Jake Morrison would on a routine pickup. 7:30 a.m. Called Walmart and spoke to Linda Chen. This is Jake Morrison from Loomis. I'll be running a bit late today. Maybe 3:30 instead of 3 hours. Hope that's okay. No problem, Jake. We'll have everything ready. Perfect. Linda assumed she was talking to the real Jake, which meant she wouldn't be expecting him at the usual time. 8 a.m. Called in sick to his own job using a prepared script about food poisoning. His replacement would handle the cash office, never knowing they were processing Marcus's final deposits. Marcus spent the morning driving around town, monitoring police radio traffic. Everything was normal. No unusual activity, no alerts about armored truck security. At 1 p.m., he drove to a rental car lot and used his fake Miguel Ramirez ID to rent a white cargo van. The clerk barely looked at the license. Business or personal use? Moving some equipment for my uncle's security company. Need any insurance? Nah, just for the afternoon. Marcus drove the van to a parking lot near Walmart and applied magnetic Loomis logos he'd ordered online. From 20 feet away, it looked like a legitimate armored transport vehicle. 2:30 p.m., final radio check. Police frequencies were quiet. Store traffic was normal. Marcus changed the van's license plate using magnetic numbers that covered the real plate. 2:45 p.m., Marcus parked in the designated armored truck zone at Walmart. His heart was pounding, but his military training kicked in. Slow, controlled breathing. Focus on the mission. He grabbed his clipboard and walked toward the store entrance. 2:47 p.m., Marcus entered Walmart store, number 4387, in full Loomis uniform. The greeter, an elderly woman named Betty, smiled and waved. Afternoon, honey. Marcus nodded confidently and walked straight to customer service. Linda Chen was behind the counter, processing returns. Excuse me, I'm here for the cash pickup. Linda looked up. Oh, you're early. Jake usually comes at 3. Marcus's pulse spiked, but he stuck to his cover story. Jake called in sick. I'm covering from the Tulsa branch. First time at this location. Okay, let me get you to the cash office. Linda led him through the store toward the back office. Marcus felt like everyone was staring at him, but he realized that was paranoia. People saw the uniform and assumed he belonged there, just like Jake had said. Here we are. Linda opened the cash office door. How's Jake doing? Stomach bug, should be back Monday. Well, tell him I said hi. I'll get the deposit paperwork. Marcus stood in the cash office where he'd worked for 12 years, now wearing a fake uniform and committing the biggest crime of his life. The irony wasn't lost on him. Linda returned with the paperwork. Okay, we've got $2,742,000 in weekend deposits. Pretty busy holiday weekend. Marcus checked the figures on his forged paperwork. Everything matched what he'd expected. Looks right. I'll need your signature here and here. Linda signed without hesitation. You guys make this look easy. 12 years of practice, Marcus said, then realized his mistake. Jake had only been on this route for 8 years, but Linda didn't notice. She was already moving toward the safe. Let me get these bags loaded for you. Marcus watched her open the safe he'd loaded hundreds of times. Stacks of cash bags, each containing $50,000 to $100,000 in bills and checks. More money than most people saw in a lifetime. Need help carrying these? I've got it, thanks. Marcus loaded the money bags into his transport cart, trying to look professional, while his hands shook slightly. Each bag represented months of Tyler's medical care. All set, Linda said. See you next week. Actually, I might be covering this route for a while. Jake's thinking about transferring to our Oklahoma City branch. Well, you seem nice enough. Drive safe. Marcus pushed the cart full of money toward the exit. His legs felt like rubber, but he forced himself to walk normally. Just another routine pickup. At the front of the store, Betty waved again. Have a good day, honey. You too, ma'am. Marcus loaded the money into the van and drove away at exactly the speed limit. In his rearview mirror, Walmart store number 4387 looked completely normal. No alarms, no running employees, no indication that anything was wrong. He made it 3 miles before allowing himself to believe it had actually worked. At 3:15 p.m., Marcus pulled into an abandoned warehouse parking lot and quickly removed the magnetic Loomis logos. He changed the license plate back to the original numbers and drove the van to the rental return location. "How'd it go?" the clerk asked. "Perfect. No problems at all." By 3:45 p.m., Marcus was driving his personal car toward the storage unit, $2.7 million in cash bags sitting in his trunk. He'd actually done it. His phone rang at 4:15 p.m. "Sarah." "Marcus, Tyler collapsed again at school. We're at the emergency room." "What happened?" "His legs gave out completely. He can't feel anything below his knees. The doctors are saying we're out of time." Marcus pulled over. "What do you mean?" "Emergency surgery tonight, or Tyler's paralyzed forever. They need payment confirmation in 2 hours." "Tell them yes. Tell them we can pay." "Marcus, what are you talking about? We don't have that kind of money." "Trust me. I'll meet you at the hospital." Marcus hung up and called Dr. Chen directly. "Doctor, this is Marcus Rodriguez. I can guarantee payment for Tyler's surgery." "Mr. Rodriguez, that's wonderful news. How do you want to handle the payment?" "I'll bring a cashier's check tonight. Can you operate immediately?" "We'll prep Tyler for surgery right now. Bring the payment to the billing office by 8 p.m. Marcus drove to 3 different banks and converted the stolen cash into cashier's checks. The amounts were just under the federal reporting limit, so no one asked questions. At 7:30 p.m., he walked into Children's Medical Center carrying $380,000 in legitimate payment for Tyler's surgery. "Mr. Rodriguez?" The billing clerk looked surprised. "That was fast." "Family emergency. When can the surgery begin?" "Doctor, Chen is prepping now. Tyler should be in surgery within the hour." Marcus found Sarah and Tyler in the pre-op room. Tyler was groggy from medication, but conscious. "Dad, are you really going to pay for this?" "It's already paid for, buddy. You're getting the surgery tonight." Tyler started crying. "I was so scared I'd never walk again." "You're going to be fine. More than fine. You're going to be playing basketball again." Sarah pulled Marcus aside. "How did you get this money?" "Insurance finally approved it. Emergency authorization." It was a lie, but Sarah was too relieved to question it. Tyler was going into surgery, and that was all that mattered. At 11:30 p.m., Dr. Chen emerged from the operating room. The surgery was a complete success. Tyler's spinal cord is decompressed, and we were able to repair all the nerve damage. He should regain full mobility within 6 months. Marcus felt like he could breathe for the first time in weeks. But at exactly midnight, his phone rang with a number he didn't recognize. "Marcus Rodriguez. Who is this?" "Detective Sarah Martinez, Tulsa Police. We need to talk." The investigation detective Sarah Martinez worked the case for 6 hours before identifying Marcus Rodriguez as the prime suspect. Security footage showed someone with inside knowledge who knew exactly where to go and how to avoid cameras. The suspect list was short: current employees with cash office access. Marcus's profile fit perfectly. 12-year employee, military background, desperate financial situation with a son needing $380,000 surgery. Police found the storage unit he'd rented and traced uniform purchases to an Army surplus store. By Saturday morning, they had a warrant. Marcus was at the hospital when the police arrived at his apartment complex. Sarah called him from the parking lot, voice shaking. "Marcus, there are 8 police cars at your building. They're going through your apartment with some kind of search warrant. What the hell is going on?" Marcus closed his eyes and looked through the hospital room window at Tyler, who was sleeping peacefully 12 hours after successful surgery. His son's legs were already showing signs of improved circulation. The paralysis was reversing. "I'll be right there," he said. "Marcus, answer me. What's happening?" "I need to tell you something. About the money for Tyler's surgery." "What about it? You said insurance finally approved it." Marcus looked at his son one more time. Tyler would walk again, graduate high school, play sports, go to college, have a normal life. Whatever happened next, Marcus had given him that. "The insurance didn't approve anything. I got the money another way." "What other way?" "I took it from Walmart." Sarah stared at him through the phone, not comprehending. "Took it how?" "I walked in wearing an armored truck uniform and walked out with $2.7 million in cash deposits." The silence stretched for 30 seconds. "You mean you robbed them?" "I took money that should have been paid to employees years ago. Walmart has been stealing from workers through overtime manipulation and wage theft. I just took back what they owed us. Marcus, that's still armed robbery. You could go to prison for life. It wasn't armed robbery. I never had a weapon. And it's grand theft, not robbery. Maximum sentence is probably 10 years. 10 years? Sarah's voice cracked. Tyler needs his father. Tyler needs his legs more. And he's got them now because of what I did. Sarah sat down heavily in her car. How much did you actually take? $2,742,000 total. Tyler's surgery cost $380,000. I've been using the rest to help other families pay for their children's medical care. What other families? Marcus pulled up the anonymous GoFundMe page he'd been managing. Walmart stole $847,000 in overtime from employees at our store alone over the last 5 years. I calculated how much they owed everyone and started paying it back through medical donations. You've been playing Robin Hood with stolen money? I've been returning stolen money to the people Walmart stole it from. The company profits $156,000 per day. Tyler's entire surgery cost less than 2.5 days of corporate revenue. Before Sarah could respond, Detective Martinez called Marcus's phone. Mr. Rodriguez, this is Detective Sarah Martinez with Tulsa Police Department. We have a warrant for your arrest in connection with the theft at Walmart store Nagar 4387. You can surrender voluntarily, or we can issue an APB and come find you. I'll come in. Smart choice. Tulsa Police Headquarters, 1247 South Yale Avenue. 1 hour. Marcus hung up and looked at Sarah, who was crying now. I have to go turn myself in. What about Tyler? What about our family? Tyler's going to be fine. Better than fine. The surgery worked perfectly. That's what matters. And what about us? What about our future? Marcus kissed her forehead through the car window. Take care of our son. Help him with physical therapy. Make sure he knows this wasn't his fault. How is this not going to destroy him? His father's going to prison because of his medical bills. His father made sure he'll never need a wheelchair. Everything else we'll figure out. An hour later, Marcus walked into Tulsa Police Headquarters wearing the same clothes he'd worn to the hospital. Detective Martinez was waiting in the lobby. Marcus Rodriguez? That's me. You're under arrest for grand theft in the first degree, impersonating an armored transport employee, conspiracy to commit fraud, and money laundering. As they read him his rights, Marcus thought about Tyler, who would wake up tomorrow able to feel his legs for the first time in months. The doctors said he'd be walking within 2 weeks, running within 2 months. It was worth it. The trial Marcus's case exploded across national media within hours. Social media dubbed him the Robin Hood of Walmart, and Free Marcus Rodriguez trended on Twitter. Public opinion rallied around the desperate father who stole millions to save his son. But FBI investigation revealed that store manager Rico Robertson had been feeding Marcus inside information for months in exchange for a cut of the money. The investigation expanded when agents discovered systematic wage theft across multiple Walmart stores. Internal emails showed corporate executives knew about widespread employee exploitation and ignored it to boost profits. Marcus's attorney used this evidence to transform his case from simple theft to corporate whistleblowing. The prosecutors offered a plea deal. Marcus would serve 18 months in minimum security prison in exchange for his cooperation in investigating Walmart's practices. Marcus accepted immediately. I'm not proud of what I did, he said at his sentencing hearing. Tyler sitting in the front row, using a walker but standing on his own. But I'm not sorry either. My son is walking today because I refused to let corporate greed destroy his life. Judge Patricia Morrison looked at the case files, the corporate emails, and Tyler's medical records before delivering her sentence. This court recognizes that theft cannot be condoned under any circumstances. However, this case reveals systematic corporate abuse that contributed directly to Mr. Rodriguez's desperate situation. She sentenced Marcus to 12 months house arrest instead of prison time, citing his cooperation with federal investigators, his military service record, and the extraordinary circumstances that led to his crime. Mr. Rodriguez will serve his sentence under electronic monitoring while working as a consultant for the Department of Labor's investigation into corporate wage theft. The courtroom erupted in applause. The aftermath, Tyler's surgery was completely successful. 6 months later, he was walking normally and playing basketball again. Marcus received 12 months house arrest and worked as a consultant, helping investigate corporate wage theft. Walmart faced federal investigation and paid $847 million in fines and back wages to employees. The family established the Tyler Rodriguez Foundation to help other families pay for children's medical emergencies. 5 years later, Tyler graduated as valedictorian with a scholarship to study sports medicine. Sarah and Marcus remarried during his house arrest. Today, Marcus works as a federal consultant specializing in corporate wage theft. Tyler graduated with full honors and is now in medical school studying spinal surgery. The Tyler Rodriguez Foundation continues helping families pay for children's medical care that insurance won't cover. The end Marcus was at the hospital when the police arrived at his apartment. Sarah called him in panic. "Marcus, there are police cars at your building. What's going on?" "I don't know. Probably just checking on something." But Marcus knew exactly what was happening. He'd known this moment would come eventually. "Sarah, I need to tell you something. About the money for Tyler's surgery." "What about it?" Marcus looked through the hospital room window at Tyler, who was sleeping peacefully after successful surgery. His son would walk again. That was all that mattered. The insurance didn't approve anything. "I got the money another way." "What other way?" "I took it from Walmart." Sarah stared at him. "You mean you stole it?" "I took money that should have been paid to employees years ago. Walmart has been stealing from workers through overtime manipulation and wage theft. I just took back what they owed." "Marcus, that's still theft. You could go to prison." "I know." Sarah sat down heavily. "How much did you take?" "Enough to pay for Tyler's surgery and help other families too." "What other families?" Marcus pulled out his phone and showed her the GoFundMe page he'd set up anonymously. "I've been donating to families who can't afford their children's medical care. Walmart stole from their employees for years. I'm giving it back." Before Sarah could respond, Detective Martinez called. "Mr. Rodriguez, we have a warrant for your arrest. You can surrender voluntarily, or we can come find you." "I'll come in." "Smart choice. Tulsa Police Headquarters, 1 hour." Marcus hung up and looked at Sarah. "I have to go." "What about Tyler?" "He's going to be fine. The surgery worked. That's what matters." "And what about us?" Marcus kissed her forehead. "Take care of our son. I'll figure out the rest." An hour later, Marcus walked into Tulsa Police Headquarters and surrendered himself to Detective Martinez. "Marcus Rodriguez, you're under arrest for grand theft, impersonating an armored transport employee, and conspiracy to commit fraud." As they read him his rights, Marcus thought about Tyler, who would wake up tomorrow able to feel his legs for the first time in months. It was worth it. The trial Marcus's case became national news within 48 hours. Social media exploded with support for the Robin Hood of Walmart, who stole millions to pay for his son's surgery. But the story got more complicated when FBI investigation revealed that Marcus wasn't working alone. Rico Robertson, the store manager, had been feeding him inside information for months. Text messages recovered from Rico's phone showed he'd been planning to help Marcus in exchange for 20% of the stolen money. "Rico approached me about 6 months ago," Marcus testified. "He said he knew about Tyler's medical bills and suggested there might be a way to solve both our problems." The FBI investigation expanded when they discovered that Rico wasn't the only Walmart manager involved in systematic theft. Stores across 3 states had been manipulating overtime systems, falsifying inventory reports, and skimming cash deposits. Marcus's attorney, Sarah Chen, no relation to Dr. Chen, used this information to transform the case from simple theft to corporate whistleblowing. "My client exposed systematic wage theft that affected thousands of employees," she argued. "While his methods were illegal, his motives were just." The prosecution countered that theft was theft, regardless of motive. "Mr. Rodriguez stole $2.7 million, said federal prosecutor James Wilson. "No personal crisis justifies taking money that doesn't belong to you." But public opinion was firmly on Marcus's side. Veterans groups rallied around his military service. Parents of sick children organized support campaigns. Even Walmart employees began speaking out about the company's labor practices. The breakthrough came when FBI agents found internal Walmart emails showing that corporate executives knew about the wage theft and chose to ignore it because it increased profits. "Store managers are instructed to keep labor costs under 12% of revenue through any means necessary," one email read. "Overtime violations are acceptable as long as they don't trigger federal investigations." Suddenly, Marcus wasn't just a thief. He was a whistleblower who'd exposed corporate fraud affecting millions of workers. The prosecutors offered a plea deal. Marcus would serve 18 months in minimum security prison in exchange for his cooperation in the broader investigation of Walmart's practices. Marcus accepted. "I'm not proud of what I did," he said at his sentencing hearing. "But I'm not sorry either. My son is walking today because I refuse to let corporate greed destroy his life." Judge Patricia Morrison sentenced Marcus to 12 months house arrest instead of prison time, citing his cooperation with federal investigators and the extraordinary circumstances that led to his crime. "While theft cannot be condoned," she said, "this case reveals systematic corporate abuse that contributed to Mr. Rodriguez's desperation." The aftermath. Tyler made a full recovery. 6 months after surgery, he was playing basketball again and had become an advocate for children with spinal conditions. Walmart faced a federal investigation that resulted in $47 million in fines and forced the company to overhaul its labor practices. Over 2,000 employees received back pay for stolen overtime. Rico Robertson was sentenced to 2 years in federal prison for conspiracy and fraud. Marcus served his house arrest sentence while working as a consultant for the Department of Labor, helping identify wage theft at other major retailers. The family used the remaining stolen money to establish the Tyler Rodriguez Foundation, which helps families pay for children's medical emergencies. To date, they've assisted over 300 families. "Sometimes the system fails," Marcus said at Tyler's high school graduation 5 years later. "When that happens, ordinary people have to make extraordinary choices. I don't recommend my methods, but I don't regret my results." Tyler graduated with a full scholarship to study sports medicine. His goal, to help other young athletes overcome spinal injuries. Sarah and Marcus remarried during his house arrest. "Crisis either destroys families or makes them stronger," she said. "We chose stronger." The Walmart heist became a case study in business schools and law schools across the country. Students debate whether Marcus was a criminal or a hero. Most conclude he was both. The security footage of Marcus walking out of Walmart with $2.7 million has been viewed over 50 million times on YouTube. Comments range from modern-day Robin Hood to "still just a thief." But for Tyler Rodriguez, who walked across his graduation stage on legs that work perfectly, the debate is simple. "My dad saved my life," he said. "Everything else is just details." Today, Marcus works as a federal consultant specializing in corporate wage theft. He's helped recover over $23 million in stolen wages for workers across the country. Tyler is in his second year of medical school, specializing in spinal surgery. The Tyler Rodriguez Foundation has expanded to serve families in 12 states. And Walmart? They've implemented new oversight systems for cash handling and employee compensation. The Rodriguez protocols are now industry standard for preventing both internal theft and wage manipulation. "I never wanted to be famous for stealing money," Marcus said in a recent interview. "But if my crime led to justice for thousands of workers, then maybe it wasn't really a crime at all." The judge who sentenced him disagrees. The employees who got their stolen wages back disagree too. History will decide whether Marcus Rodriguez was a criminal who got lucky or a hero who did what needed to be done. Tyler Rodriguez knows which side he's on.